The Italian medieval commentator, the Sforno, Rabbi Sforno, makes an incredible point, sharp point, in the beginning of this week's parsha as we prepare for Tisha B'Av. He says a remarkable thing. He says in the beginning of the parsha, we know, Eile Devarim, the parsha that we always read before Tisha B'Av, there's so much rebuke in it, as Chazal say. Moshe Rabbeinu reprimanding the people, educating them what they can do better, especially the next generation going into the land. But says the Sforno, why does he start with the most unusual thing? He starts with the judicial courts. He reminds them how in Parshat Yitro, he created a judicial system with many different judges of thousands, hundreds, etc. What, says the Sforno, has this got to do with the beginning of the book of Devarim and the rebuke of the Jewish people? Incredibly, he says, look at this. How many judges did each person need? I understand Sarei Alafim, for thousands of people to have a judge, yes. Sarei Meot, maybe 100 people. Sarei Chamishim, 50 people need their own judge. Sarei Eser, each 10 people need their own judge. Every little cul-de-sac, every little side street with a few tents, everyone needed their own judge. He says because people could not get over themselves. Every small issue, even over Shaveh Pruta, over an insignificant amount of money, and side issues became major fights. Everything became the biggest deal in the world. They became principles. I always say, if there's one thing I've learned from community rabbinics over the years, is that so many people make interactions with other people about the principles. They fight for the principle to teach people a point. Life is not about teaching people points and principles. It's about the person. Can you get on with people? Every 10 people needs to have the judge, and ongoing judgments of everybody judging each other, not being able to get over each other. That is so much of what life is about. In fact, Rabbi Yochanan famously says, regarding the Churban Habayit, in Masechet Bava Metzia Daf Lamed, the temple was destroyed because everybody stood for their own values and stood for their truth. He says it was destroyed because people went according to Shirat Hadin, the letter of the law. I'm right, you wrong. They stood up for principles instead of Lifnim Shirat Hadin. Hashem is less concerned about who is right in personal interactions, and rather are people getting on with each other. It's not about the principle, it's about the person. And may we all, as we read these words of rebuke and inspiration as we prepare for Tisha B'Av, put unnecessary arguments aside, stop fighting to the death over principles which are not that important in the greater scheme of things, sort out the wood from the trees, and most importantly to understand that Hashem wants us to get on with each other much more than He wants us to teach other people lessons and stand up for unnecessary principles in dealing with the person in interpersonal relationships. Shabbat Shalom.